There's a moment most people never talk about. It's when you open your banking app, and instead of feeling anxious or closing it Allah salam fast, Allah salam possible, you feel calm. Not excited, not rich, just calm. You stop doing mental math over every small purchase. You're no longer asking yourself if a coffee today means instant noodles tomorrow. That shift doesn't happen at $1 million, and it doesn't happen when you hit 6 figures either. It happens much earlier. And once it does, your entire financial life starts playing by different rules.
The misunderstood milestone. Most money advice tells you to chase big numbers, get rich, hit 7 figures. 6 figures is the goal. But almost no one talks about the first number that actually changes how your brain works. That number is $20,000. Not because it makes you wealthy, but because it moves you out of financial survival mode. And that changes everything.
Why progress feels impossible at first. Before this point, building wealth feels brutal. You save, you sacrifice, you say no to things you want, and it feels like nothing is happening. That's because money behaves a lot like momentum. Imagine pushing a massive stone uphill. At the beginning, every step feels pointless. You're exhausted, slipping, barely moving it at all. But once that stone reaches the top, gravity takes over. The effort doesn't increase, the resistance disappears. That's what the first $20,000 does. Before it, everything feels heavy. After it, progress accelerates.
The real change isn't financial, it's psychological. Here's the part most people miss. The biggest difference isn't returns. It's not investment strategies. It's not access to secret opportunities. It's how your mind operates. When you have no savings, your brain is locked into scarcity. Every decision is defensive. You take bad jobs because you can't wait. You tolerate situations you hate because leaving feels dangerous. You say yes when you want to say no. Your brain isn't broken, it's protecting you. But protection mode leaves no room for growth. You can't plan the future when you're busy putting out fires.
What changes after $20,000? Once you cross that line, something subtle but powerful happens. You gain mental breathing room. Instead of asking, how do I make it to next month? You start asking, how do I make this grow? You stop reacting and start positioning. That alone puts you ahead of most people.
Why the math suddenly works in your favor. Let's make this concrete. Saving your first $20,000 is hard. It usually takes years of discipline. But once you have it, time starts working with you instead of against you. That same monthly effort produces results faster, not because you're working harder, but because your money is finally helping. Returns that once felt pointless suddenly matter. Percentages turn into real dollars. Growth becomes visible. That's when momentum kicks in.
You don't need better investments. A common myth is that wealthy people use special strategies. They don't. They use the same tools. Index funds, basic portfolios, long-term discipline. The difference isn't sophistication, it's scale. 10% on a small amount feels invisible. 10% on a larger base changes your life. Same rules, different outcomes.
The habit that matters more than the money. Reaching $20,000 does something more valuable than growing your account. It proves something to you. It proves you can delay gratification. You can control your behavior. You can follow through long-term. That identity shift is permanent. You stop seeing yourself as someone bad with money. You become someone who knows they can execute. That belief changes every future decision.
Why emergencies stop feeling like disasters. When you're broke, surprises feel catastrophic. A repair, a bill, a price increase. Everything feels like a threat. With savings, those same events lose their power. They become inconveniences instead of emergencies. And once fear disappears, opportunity becomes visible. You can invest, you can negotiate, you can take calculated risks. Not because you're reckless, but because you're no longer desperate.
How this transforms your career. This is where things get really interesting. Savings don't just change your money, they change your leverage. When you have no cushion, you negotiate from fear. When you have savings, you negotiate from strength. You can ask for raises, you can push back, you can explore better options. Often, you never even need to use that freedom. Just knowing it exists changes how you show up. And people notice.
The biggest mistake people make. Here's the trap. Many people hit $20,000, feel the confidence, and immediately spend it. A new car, a luxury trip, a purchase that feels earned. But that money isn't a reward. It's a foundation. Spending it resets the game back to zero. Protecting it allows compounding to do what no salary ever can.
The perspective shift that keeps you wealthy. Once you've crossed this threshold, your thinking changes. You stop asking, "Can I afford the payment?" and start asking, "What is this costing my future?" That single question rewires your priorities. Expensive purchases lose their emotional pull. Smart trade-offs feel empowering instead of restrictive. You're no longer chasing appearances. You're buying freedom.
$20,000 won't make you rich, but it will move you from survival to strategy, from reaction to design, from stress to control. And once that shift happens, building wealth stops feeling impossible. It becomes inevitable if you stay patient.